you for all you've done.
Thank you for always keeping us safe.
Thank you all so much for your service.
Thank you for risking your lives to protect others.
Thank you all so much for your service.
Well, today, Veterans Day, as we do every year, we take that moment to embrace the gentle heroes of Vietnam and of all our wars. We remember those who were called upon to give all a person can give. And we remember those who were prepared to make that sacrifice if it were demanded of them in the line of duty, though it never was. Most of all, we remember the devotion and gallantry with which all of them ennobled their nation as they became champions of a noble cause.
Thank you so much for everything you've done for us and for the future.
Thank you for everything, veterans.
We really appreciate it.
Thank you, veterans, for keeping us safe all these years.
Thank you, veterans, for sacrificing so much of your time and life in order to keep us safe.
Welcome. My name is Olivia Harry, and today I have some very special guests with me who are veterans from the local area. So how are you guys doing?
Good. Very good.
Awesome. So I have some questions for you today. So what are you guys' names, and how long have you lived in town?
My name is Arthur Wicknick. I've lived in town my entire life, 68 years.
Wow.
Ron Anino, I've lived in town all of my life too, 69 years.
Rick Anino, I've lived in town all my life, 69 years.
Awesome.
We're twins.
Awesome. I didn't even know that.
See that? Really? Learn something every day.
Okay, so my first question is, what year and branch of service were you guys in?
I entered the Army in the U.S. Army in 1968.
Awesome. How about you?
1966 and went in the Navy.
Okay.
Yeah, enlisted in 1966 and got out in 1970.
Oh, okay. Awesome. So where did you guys serve? Did you serve in multiple places? Did you just go to one location? How does that work?
Well, when I was drafted, I went to Fort Dix, New Jersey, then Fort Polk, Louisiana. And then I took some additional training stateside before being sent to Vietnam for 1 year. I went to Vietnam in the spring of 1969 and came home in the spring of 1970.
Cool.
Yeah. Went to boot camp at the Great Lakes. Then I went to Naval Training Center for Aviation. And then I went to a helicopter squadron in Key West, Florida, where I was an air crewman and worked on helicopters. And then I went to the aircraft carrier, the USS Kearsarge. And then I was stationed in California after that.
And I enlisted in the Navy when I was 18 in 1966, went to Pensacola, Florida for training, and then went to, let's see, I went to the state of Washington, a squadron out there, A6 squadron, and I went to Vietnam from October of 69 till June of 70 on an aircraft carrier.
Wow, that's a lot. You guys went everywhere.
Yeah.
You would think, because these guys are brothers, they would have tried to serve together.
Yeah.
Or maybe you didn't want to serve together. You wanted to be away from each other.
Separated. Gotcha.
They say join the Navy, see the world. There
Awesome.
you go. There you go.
Yeah. Perfect. Well, you guys went everywhere. So I have a question. What was your mindset when you're going into this service? Like, what kind of encouraged you to do that? What was your mindset when you first got there? You know, that sort of thing.
Well, I had no encouragement. I did not want to go.
Oh,
I was unlike these gentlemen who signed up for 4-year enlistments. I went in for 2 years as a draftee.
Gotcha.
In other words, I got a letter from Uncle Sam that says, "We want you, and we're taking you." So
Gotcha.
I did not want to go. I had a great job. I had a new car. I had a girlfriend I was crazy about, but that was all going to end very quickly.
Right.
Yeah. Our incentive was one of our friends got a draft notice. And we were sitting, I'll never forget, we were sitting at McDonald's, we were talking, the three of us, my brother, myself, and him. And he said, I got my draft notice today, or whatever it was. And I says, really? You know what we should do? We should go down and enlist in the Navy. And that's what we did. We went down, we took the test, and they said, okay, you're going in the Navy now. So like Art said, instead of doing 2 years, we went for 4 years.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So that was the incentive to say, okay, we'll pick what we want to do.
I had no choice of the job that was going to be assigned to me,
Yeah.
where they did.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, well, those are both very abrupt experiences. Sounds like you made a quick decision and you didn't really have a decision.
Yeah, right, yeah, really, yeah.
So-
Once you got that notice, I mean, people today you guys probably don't even remember the draft or even know what it was about, but back in those days, you got what, numbers?
Mhm.
You got a certain number, and if you were in that block of people, then that's when you got a notice and
Right.
you had to serve.
So did you guys have like the same mindset going into it? Did you both like agree that yes, that's something you really wanted to do?
Yeah,
and
'cause
we
you could-
wanted to get
yeah.
something you could train. You know, the Navy had good training, like we went to jet engine school.
Yeah.
The Army really didn't offer much training back
Right.
then as they do now. So
Yeah.
we
Got
wanted to
it.
get something we could use after the military service.
That's smart. Okay. So what are some of your strongest memories? You guys went a lot of places, you did a lot of stuff, you saw a lot of stuff. So what are some strongest, fondest memories over the whole course of it?
I think for me, the most important thing was some of the men I served with. I was in combat most of the time, and I served with some very brave and courageous people. And I've always been grateful to be around those kind of guys that in some very difficult situations, the best came out in people. So I always have great memories of the people I served with because my life was in their hands and their lives were in my hands. So there's a bond there that can never be broken.
Right. That sounds really awesome. How about you guys?
Yeah, it's kind of the same thing, because when you're in the military, you have to depend upon the guy next to you. Like I was an air crewman, and you train and train and train, and you got to do your job. Everybody else has got to do their job to make it work, and like I said, the camaraderie and that kind of stuff that you get out of it. And I'm still, as a matter of fact, I just talked with 2 of my buddies from the Navy a couple of weeks ago. You know, they called up and we were discussing stuff and the fun times that we had. And I was stationed in Key West for 2 years, and we used to go to Miami and really have some great times up there, and we were talking about that. And then, you know, the other stuff that we did when we were flying and that stuff, so. Yeah.
Right.
You know, to me, diversity was a big issue. You know, coming from a small town like Higginham and then going into service, and you met people from all over the world, all over the United States, and just the diversity, the different cultures, to me was very, very interesting. And I'll always remember that. And it was a big help in my future life, too, to learn how other people act and react to certain circumstances.
Because when you got hooked up with different guys, I mean, guys from the down south were way different mindset that we had, guys from the cities, and that you really had to learn how to really gel that all together and work with everybody, because people had different ways of doing things and that kind of stuff. But it all seemed to work. The military just gets you to do that, you know.
Yeah,
So.
it definitely sounds like you guys like learned a lot from each other.
Oh yeah.
One of the things I like to add is most veterans, though we've experienced some horrifying incidents, most of us try to remember the good times and the and the camaraderie. That is really what binds us together.
Yeah.
Yeah, that definitely sounds like a great experience and a great like bonding process, like you said.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So next, what were you looking forward to most when you came home? Because you know you're gone so far. Like, of course, you meet all these great people, but there must be something that you were looking forward to when you came home.
Yeah.
I got married when I was in the service, and my son was born in August of '69, and the squadron deployed to Vietnam in October. I couldn't wait to get home to my wife and son.
That's awesome.
That was my dream.
Yeah.
And it couldn't come fast enough.
I think for me, I just wanted to get home and, you know, get hooked up with the guys and the people that we used to hang out with, and just, it was almost like it picked up where we left off. Everybody had their hot rod cars, and we sat out in Higginham Center and did things that we weren't supposed to do, and you know, that's what you were looking forward to when you got out. You just wanted to get back into a normal regime of what you were doing, you know. So.
Actually, he stole most of my thunder. One of the things, other than seeing my girlfriend, I wanted to get back in my car. I had a '68 Camaro that I bought new just before I left.
Nice.
I just couldn't wait to get back behind the wheel of that car. And like he says, hang out with the guys, and that's what we did. We hung out all the time. Had a great time.
That's awesome. Those are all like very individual things that are very personal that I'm sure for anyone you would definitely want to get home to those. I can imagine missing those.
Yeah.
So please tell us one or two things that you want the students of HK to know about being a veteran.
You know,
That's
for me, you have to look at we're from the Vietnam era. One of the things that, like if I go to the airport now with my son-in-law, and he's in the National Guard, when he got off that plane, there was people walking up to him, offering to buy him coffee, shake his hand, and all of that stuff today. Now, that's what you like to see. Vietnam veterans did not see that. When I was stationed in California, when I was stationed in Florida, it wasn't too bad. California was very, people just did not like you. They focused on the military guys. They didn't blame it on the politicians. It was, you were standing in front of them, so those are the people that they picked on. So that, that's, I don't know.
I have to agree with Ron. The reception we got, or that I got at Bradley Airport, I was in my uniform. I felt great. I was home. I was free. And people kept staring at me, kind of funny. And if I made eye contact, they would look away.
Yeah.
Right.
And they'd poke the gut person next to them. Hey, look, there's a soldier.
Oh,
so
wow.
you knew that you were not really welcome.
Right.
You were kind of, something that they'd rather not see. So as soon as I got home, the first thing I did is I took my uniform off. I was ashamed to be in my uniform.
Wow.
How terrible. So I'm just grateful that the country has turned that page and given today's veterans the recognition and appreciation that they all deserve.
I think that's what we're trying to get across to the students. It's, if you're going to blame people, blame the people that got us into this mess, and not the guy that's got. From our era, you were you either drafted or you enlisted, and you were going to serve one way or the other. You were going to serve, so it wasn't our fault that this is the mess that we got ourselves into, and why blame the guy that's standing in front of you? But that's the easy thing to do instead of picking up the phone and calling your local politician or whoever. So.
Right.
Yeah.
So your guys' experience was very different from veterans for today.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Well, we have a uniform down at the museum, and I always show this. It's a Vietnam uniform of guys that all of us knew. We grew up with them. And his uniform, I always show it to the kids. I says, this uniform, when this guy came home, he took that uniform off, and he never put it back on. Because I always pull his last orders out of his pocket and his plane ticket home. It's still inside of his pocket, so he probably never put that uniform on. I never saw him on Memorial Day ever march with us or anything, because the experience was probably so bad for him that he just wanted to forget about it. So.
Right. Well, thank you for telling your experience to the HK kids, because I'm sure they see, well, I know that they see a very different side of it now.
Right.
Right. So what message would you like to get across to young people in general for your overall experiences, anything like that?
Well, what I'd like to say is that serving in the military gives you discipline. You learn teamwork. You learn how to also make decisions, and how to be part of something that's much bigger than you.
Right.
When I first went in the military, I hated it because I was made to go. But when I look back on it, it was probably the best experience I ever had. And Rick mentioned that earlier. It turns us, not turns us into, but it makes us. It's a reflection of who we are today, and how much I love this country. I think it's the best country on earth, and that is something that when serving in the military, you find out that you're part of the protection of this country. It's an awesome responsibility, and it was a great experience to have.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think the same thing. I think if you stop and look at it, most of the guys that we served with, they're only like 18, 19 years old. And I mean, you're responsible for aircraft, weapon systems. I mean, if you really look at it, and if you look at today's youth, if you're not going into the military, you don't see the same level of responsibility. By the time we got out of the service, you know, you're only 20, 21 years old, and you're out and you've had all this experience and all this responsibility thrown on your shoulders, and it's just really quick. You know, I mean, I can remember getting off the train at boot camp, and all of a sudden everybody's yelling at you and everything, like, you were petrified. You didn't know what was going on. And the first thing you thought was like, what did we just do? Why are we here? You know, and all this yelling and screaming and we were in boot camp for 11 weeks. But by the time you get out of boot camp, you know, you knew what the game was. So the responsibility that they were going to place on you, you knew you had to step up. So, you know.
You want to add to that?
No, you've covered all of that.
Yeah, bro.
It's a good training ground. It really is
It
for
really
life.
is, yeah.
You know?
Yeah, for life. I agree with you there.
It's a good education, diversity. It's all right there, and it's all free.
You have to learn to deal with so many people, so many personalities. I mean, it's you know, from every ethnic background and every other thing. You know, it's just you had to get along. You know, I mean, you're in a barracks with probably 80 other guys. You know, back in those days, it was just an open barracks. So I mean, you didn't.
Yeah, we didn't have rooms.
Yeah, really. It's not like today. I think you know, we didn't have any rooms at all. That was it. You were just threw in a big. The barracks that we were in Key West, they were built in the 1940s for World War II, and then we were still using the same barracks.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Fort Dix was the same thing. That was built, I think, for World War I.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And the bathrooms, which are the latrines, there's no dividers.
Yeah.
The showers are wide. Everything's wide open.
Yeah,
so
right, yeah.
you're in a whole different world.
Oh.
Yeah.
So I'm very lucky to have my own bathroom.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
you do, right? Yeah, you are.
I'm lucky.
Yeah.
Okay, so everybody's idea or perspective of patriotism is very different. So what does patriotism mean to each of you?
You know, that's a good question.
It's a tough one.
You know,
to put it
I
into
think
words,
I think the thing for me is that support your country. You know, it's your country, and the saying used to be, you know, you support your country, right or wrong. You know, and to me that's okay. Support your company, your country as much as possible. You know, and something along that line.
I'd have to say that. You know, this country, again, has given a lot of opportunities to a lot of different people. And I get upset when I see football players or sports people degrading that by kneeling at the national anthem. To me, it's a very unpatriotic thing to do. For all the opportunities that this country offers, you should take advantage of them and be thankful for them, not to degrade them.
Right.
I agree with you 100% on that one.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's the one thing that really agitates me. Is just recently, as soon as the football game came on, and the first thing that they show was these guys kneeling, I just went, change
Shut it
channels.
off.
I'm not watching this game.
Right.
And I'm not going to watch it. No. So anything along those lines is, to me, is, you know, you can get your message out one way or the other, especially if you're a professional athlete or whoever. You've got a bigger platform that you can use than doing it right there. You know, I mean, to me, I just don't get it. So.
Right.
Absolutely.
You agree with that?
Absolutely.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
You know, patriotism is earned. It's not something that's given to you.
No, that's right. And the thing is that if you look at the people that died for this country, and I mean, you know, it's like when we have our Memorial Day parade, the one thing is that we try to keep it focused on the people that died. Yeah, I mean, and what they've given so that you've got the freedom to do this kind of thing. But as far as like when the national anthem's playing and you turn your back or you're kneeling down, I don't know, I just don't get that.
It's very upsetting.
It is, it really is, yeah.
Right.
To the veterans, yeah.
You know, I put my life on the line.
Right.
You guys did too.
Yeah.
And even though they, you know, you guys were in the Navy, you're always in a dangerous situation because you never know when an accident could occur. So our life, for all the time we were in the military, our life was in some kind of peril.
Yep.
Not always, but at times.
Gotcha.
So for someone to disrespect us for that is very disturbing.
Yeah, I completely agree. And that what you said makes total sense.
Because if you've ever watched TV and you watch aircraft operations on an aircraft carrier, that is really dangerous stuff up on that flight deck.
Right.
And I know Rick was on the flight deck. I was never up on the flight deck, but it's a really dangerous space to be.
Right.
You can get killed up there very easily if you're not paying attention.
Gotcha.
So,
Well, I have one more question for you guys. So, if you could have changed anything about your experience in the Navy or in the forces, or what would you have changed?
to me, nothing.
Nothing.
No. There was good times in the service, there was bad times in the service, but when you get out, and like you said, Art, when you look back, you just go, that's made me who I am today, and it's given me the ability to make decisions, be a responsible person, you know, everything along those lines, you know.
Right.
So.
Yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't change anything.
You guys
Absolutely.
keep stealing my thunder.
Well,
No, I wouldn't change anything either.
Right.
Again, I didn't want to go. I was made to go, but once I was in,
Yeah.
you have to do your time, finish it out, and then once you're out, as a veteran, I don't consider I don't think most veterans don't consider themselves special. We just saw life from a different point of view, so we have a different perspective on things.
Right.
and you know, I think maybe if it was today, in today's military, I might not have gotten out because the pay was pretty decent now and that kind of stuff. But when you were drafted or you went in and enlisted in those days, I think, what the heck was it, $30 a month?
Oh, wow.
Oh,
I had one of my W-2s. I was looking at it only with, you know, your tax form. I was looking at it, and this was only 3 or 4 months ago. And I think the whole year was $1,380.
Oh,
You
wow.
must have got a
you got a
you must have
raise.
got a raise. 'Cause
Well, I was on flight pay.
well, you guys went in before I did, but
Yeah.
I think I was making $96 a month or something.
Yeah.
like
Oh, wow.
Well, I got $60 a month for flight crew. And I thought I thought I was in heaven. I said, oh man, that's another $60 a month to fly, you know.
Wow.
And I love flying. That was fun.
Yeah.
I was in a helicopter squadron, so we did all
Yeah.
kinds of wacky stuff.
So even though you didn't get the most money, you were glad you were doing it. You were having
Oh yeah,
fun.
I love flying. I mean, you know, if they had ever left me in a helicopter squadron, I might have stayed in because I loved it.
Definitely wasn't about the money, was it?
No.
No, no, it wasn't a cash cow. I can
No.
tell you that. No, really.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming and joining me today. I definitely learned a lot, and I think that the community of HK and the students learned a lot from you being here. So thank you so much for sharing your experiences with
Thanks
me.
for inviting us.
Yes, thank you.
Olivia,
Yes,
thank you very much.
No
It's been a
problem.
pleasure.
Very good. Yeah.